Hi, and a warm welcome to our Takten Summit, Conscious Manufacturing. My name is Cecilia Hamrin, and I will be the host for our summit this spring. Now we will actually move on to our next and the final keynote speaker for today, which is Cassinia Garbachenka. So Cassinia leads strategic projects across companies with a focus on sustainability and circular economy, and is currently the Global Sustainability Manager at PlusPack. And PlusPack's ambition is to transform the single-use of food packaging industry to circularity by offering the circular food packaging at net zero for real. So Ksenija is with us here today to share their strategy to reach their ambition and how they incorporate this on an operational level in their day-to-day work. So thank you so much, Ksenija. We're so happy to have you here for today. And as soon as you're ready, you're welcome to start.
Thank you very much, Cecilia, and thank you for invitation to this very interesting event. I have really enjoyed the presentations of both Joe and Irene. I hope that will be also reflected a bit in my presentation, not because I knew what they were talking about, but it's actually supports quite a lot of what we have been focusing on for the already past 3-4 years. And this is also what we're going to work on for the next 3 years. Just a short introduction to myself. My name is Ksenija, and I'm the Group Sustainability Manager by PlusPack, as Cecilia has mentioned. I am working at PlusPack for 6 years already and started in our product development team, while my focus and my interest area has changed for a couple of years ago, since I was involved in very interesting projects, sustainability-related ones, with the design on recycling and recyclability. So I totally understand what Joe is talking about today, since that was on our agenda since for the last 3-4 years already. But let me start, and I'm very glad to be able to share how we do that. And feel free to ask any questions. I hopefully can also cover it during the presentation as well. If I start just with our vision is we want to be a preferred partner of customized and sustainable packaging solutions. PlusPack is a food packaging manufacturer. So for us, it's quite important that our packaging that we are producing doesn't end up in the streets, in the nature, in the oceans. This is all the pictures that have been shown for many years already. And of course, we want to be a preferred partner with all our customers and, of course, our suppliers. Just a short intro about the PlusPack. It's a privately owned company. It's already the 4th generation that is now being heading the PlusPack's journey towards the ambitions. We have 2 productions, 2 factories, one in Denmark and one in Belgium. We're around 200 employees in both locations. And as you can see, we are selling to quite many customers across many countries around the world. And that is just to set a perspective how complex it can be for us to follow the local regulations, local requirements across the countries. And as Joe mentioned, EU is working on trying to make it more aligned. We're looking forward to that since it's a kind of a dark forest, and we need to navigate, not us ourselves, but actually also recommending and advising our customers in which direction they have to go. So as soon as EU is aligned, we're happy, but again, we have the rest of the world to follow. You have a bit about their turnover, and we would like to grow as well in our new innovations, since we are more a customized or a company focused on customized solutions. This is where the biggest focused area was and is. So that for us as a PlusPack, we want to grow as well with our branded products, and the 10% of the turnover should be coming from there. These are just the 4 key points we are focusing on in general when we work with our customers, when we develop our products, and when we also deal with our partners. We want to offer the innovative solutions with our know-how We want to design packaging that is fit for purpose, meaning that we want to design packaging that fit for applications it must be used for, and nothing more or less. We want to dedicate and be dedicated with our partners, again, not only with customers and suppliers, but actually also inside the company, since this is also like a baseline. If we can cooperate across the departments, across our functions, then we can also do that externally. And last but not least, we need to focus, and we are focusing on sustainability, so for the benefit of coming generations. It's not because sustainability is something new for us as a Pluspark. It was the motto from the beginning for more than 100 years ago already, is that what we do and how we do that, it should be given a real difference. So the sustainability was there and is in the focus, and it will be also in the focus for the coming years. So how do we manage that? How do we work with sustainability and actions, taking actions towards the circular economy? We made a new strategic plan for the coming 3 years, which is called Circular 2024. Again, circular, not linear. Joe has already explained a bit the difference between linear and circular economy. And our vision is to make circular food packaging at net zero for real. So there are 2 key elements: is the products we are producing. We strive and focus on designing them for circular economy. And another thing, which is coming actually primarily from us as a Pluspark, as a manufacturing company, and this is also what Joe has already mentioned in her presentation, is that we need to make sure that our CO2 emissions, they are going down, hopefully to net zero by 2024. And here we are primarily focusing on scope 1 and 2, meaning this is what we can control ourselves. At the same time, we don't have to forget all the CO2 emissions which are coming from the scope 3, or what is from our suppliers, from the raw materials, also what is coming back, what is going on after we have sold the products. So, of course, the scope 3 reductions are also in focus. And just one of the things that we have said we want to achieve this year is we want to commit to the science-based targets. Again, make a commitment to something that is quite scientifically already approved and proven. And we also feel that this would also give us an advantage in going forward and achieving the CO2 reduction goals. As you could see, our main development goal we are focusing on is the goal number 12. This is also what Joe has also mentioned. This is the focus for manufacturing companies. The reason we are focusing on that is because this is what we consume, this is what we produce, and this is also the way we are doing that we can take a control of. Those who are aware of the sustainability goal number 12, they know that there are many different partial goals, but not to go into very complex area, we have decided to focus on 4 main areas, which are also showed just in front of you. And just to make like an example of one of the goals in one of the focus areas we're working within our production is that we want to minimize the CO2 footprint in our own production where we manufacture and produce the packaging. We're doing that by investing in the energy efficient machines and tools. In addition to that, we are also implementing or actually building up our new building and covering the complete roof with the solar panels, so that we are getting already in part of the green energy, and also committing to the CO2 reduction goals. In addition to that, we are focusing on minimizing our scrap. Again, there is no waste. This is also what Joe says. The waste is actually now equal to resources. And these leftovers, when you produce the packaging, there is some material left. We are not throwing it away. We're actually selling it back to our suppliers, and the material is being used again in production of our trays. So in that way, we are closing the circle, and Again, why should we minimize the scrap since we can actually use it again? But again, we see that there's a responsibility of minimizing the use of material and the raw resources. There is a scarcity of them in the planet, so we need to take care of them. So that's why we need to make sure that when we both design our packaging and also when we manufacture, that we actually have a full control of our processes and we strive to reduce them as much as we can. We're using the recycled materials both in production of our trays, but also making sure that we are getting them from our suppliers. We think circular when we designed our products. We focus primarily on monomaterials. Again, to those who are familiar with the design guidelines for recycling, or at least have heard about that, the monomaterials are the ones to prefer, since the more complex the multi-materials, they are quite difficult to recycle, at least on the existing with the existing technology. So that's why by focusing on monomaterials, we are making our input or impact in designing products which will fit in the future for the recycling. This is also where this definition of focus on fit for future materials is coming from. Since we are quite engaged in many projects, both in Denmark and also in European scale, and following all the developments that are coming on the recyclability. There are three main materials that are being focused on, at least for the packaging, in plastics. It's the polypropylene, PET, and PE, just to mention these three. And we decided to say also for our own packaging that we need to focus on these three and try to minimize the amount of other materials we're using for the packaging. So it means it's quite a rough choice and decision that was made, since it requires quite a high investment from our side to invest in new tools and in new technology. But again, this is the commitment we have done. We want to become circular. We want to design for recycling, and we want to show to our customers that we are committed. So we need to also to do that. One of the things that I would also just like to share with you, and again, coming back to both Joe's and actually also the Irene's presentation, is that we want to be sure that when we talk to our customers, suppliers, or to our employees, that we have a common language of what is sustainable, how Pluspack sees sustainability and sustainability strategy. That's why we have actually initiated what we call packaging school. And the main idea of this school in the beginning was exactly to establish this common language, to show and inform and share the knowledge with our employees of what is sustainability by Pluspack, how we're going to work with that, and what does it mean for all of us. It was made in the beginning where it was quite a big focus on plastic waste and plastic in nature. So we want to make sure that we as employees by Pluspack, we don't have to be afraid of telling that we are actually working and we are developing and producing plastic packaging. So we need to be sure that we're ready to take those discussions. And the way we're doing that is actually being quite effective. What we use is the data approved approach. We have data in place. We have collected data from our suppliers in order to make sure that what we tell to our employees and also afterwards to all our partners is data-driven and data-based. So we're not afraid to be faced with the claims that you're greenwashing or whatever. It's actually quite the important part of our approach to work with sustainability. We need to make sure that the data is in place. This is also maybe one of the main challenges at the moment is that not everyone is willing to share the data and be so transparent as we want it to be. But again, we may be on the different pages, so we need to make sure that we are talking the same language before we can take a next step. And again, if we just take this more European perspective, again, data access and databases are so different. So for us, it's still a challenge to make sure that data we are getting, it's coming from the reliable sources. it's been based on the same year, if you say so, because not all data is available. So it's a kind of a challenge we're facing, but we decided to be open and we share what we know and just give them the facts and show them the direction we want to go to. So I hope it's more or less clear how we make an approach. And this is also what we're going to work in the next coming 3 years, looking forward to the Circle 2024. We want to invest in new digital platforms, for example, in order to be able to communicate it properly with our customers, for example. We are already using the solution from Tacton, where we are configuring new products. There we have already tried to implement and integrate one of the steps towards the design for recycling, just by giving the option for our sales colleagues and also customers to say, if you want to design for recycling, then you have only these limited choices. What we want to do in the future is to expand it to more, like Irene already mentioned in her presentation, towards the life cycle approach. This is the probably a dream scenario that we can actually give the data-based choices and actually all the CO2 emissions together with these product configurations that we are offering to our customers, because that would really complete the offer, if we say so. So we want to also invest in new products, mainly circular products, which will not end up in the nature and in the garbage or a trash bin. As a minimum, it should be able to be recycled, but in the best case, it should be reused. We're also investing in the buildings, if just to take a different perspective. As I mentioned, we have invested in a new warehouse, and already in that building, we're also applying this both the LCA approach in choosing the materials, but also thinking the design for recycling and disassembly and reuse. So the choice was made so that the materials that are used in the building, they can be, as minimum, be recycled. But actually it can be disassembled, the whole construction, and can be moved to a different place. So it's also kind of shows the focus that it's not only the products we are producing, but it's actually also the buildings we are working in. And of course, it will also come into the tooling and all the other products that we are dealing with. And renewable energy, this is also the focus area and where we are investing. Again, solar panels is the example of what we're doing already. And if we take the example from Belgium, there we are considering investing in the windmill, which would also enable us to save on energy and also reduce the CO2 emissions coming from there. Here is just an example of the tool we use internally when we design our products. And just to say it in general, every one of you dealing with the manufacturing of any kind of products can use it. The main idea here is that you think circular and you go around the circle and try to double click on each and every step, just to make sure that you have considered all the options. In our case, we start actually not from raw material when we start designing, but we start with recycling. So the first question we want to ask our customers whether they make sure that the products should be recycled or not, or is there a recycling infrastructure available in this certain country or not, and again, where the product is going to be sold. So we have to consider already the future applications, the next step in the supply chain. When you do that and we go through all the circle, then you're actually quite aware of what is going on in the process. You have taken the responsibility and you have taken the discussions with the relevant stakeholders. Again, coming back to what Irene said, make sure that all the stakeholders are involved in the process. It may make this process a bit more complex and time consuming, but it's worth it, especially when you work with the circular economy and want to go the circular way. What we also do is we engage in many partnerships. We want to inspire our customers, our colleagues, and our suppliers. Just go for it. This is the best way to access the knowledge, to get the data in place. And what you see in front of you is just a few projects where we are working actively, especially within our area of food packaging, for example. European Plastic Pact, it's the European initiative where every country wants to get design guidelines in uniform place. So it's not different from one country to another like it is at the moment. There are 2 Danish initiatives which are also primarily focusing on plastics. But if I just mention one of them is the governmental climate partnership, where the main focus area is on the public procurement. Again, coming back to what Joe has mentioned, there should be also focus on the public sector. It's not only the manufacturing, it's also the public sector. And there we are also quite active. Holy Grail is quite a technological initiative by the brand owners or the coalition from US. It's a technology which will help, I would say, all packaging manufacturers to sort and make the quality of the material increased. We are in that project in order to gain the data and to gain the knowledge, and we are testing the technologies. So don't be afraid to join all these partnerships. This is the great way of navigating, to be prepared also for all the coming regulations and all the coming developments, so that you are on track, you are not left behind, because sustainability is there and it's not going to disappear. So that was my last comment. If you want to follow our journey, you can reach us in different social media. And now I'm ready to get the questions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ksenija, for sharing your sustainable agenda, and also interesting to hear about everything you've done with your production facility and your design process. So just moving forward with one question, we'll see if more coming in. So I'm a little bit eager to hear around the challenges. So you mentioned a few, but if you can share about the challenges you at Pluspack have encountered so far, driving your ambition of circular food packaging to net zero for real. You mentioned a few, but if you have anything that you didn't have time to mention.
I think I can add one more. Maybe just referring to Joe's presentation on regulations. For us, since we are working across Europe, it's a bit challenging to work maybe on the same level in all countries, because regulations are so different. So for us, the sooner they come locally and also be aligned, the better it is. Because right now, if we take Denmark as an example, we are quite behind on the extended producer responsibility. While we know countries as France and Holland and Sweden, let's say just these 3, they are quite ahead. So we can see that it helps when regulations are in place. And when there is a clear guidelines of what is good and what is not good. So when all countries will be aligned, it will be perfect. Because right now we are still on different levels. And for us, the more standardized it will become, it will be easier. And I have mentioned already data, so that the data sources should be also transparent and available, preferably on the same year, if you say so. And the transparency across the supply chain, because it's still a challenge if we want to talk to different partners, is that not everyone is on the same level again, coming back to the common language. So it's still time consuming to become on the same level, because what we require is sometimes more than we can get. So patience, we need to be patient, but we need to push, because otherwise it will not happen. So better be transparent and say what you have, either just say, no, we can't do that.